Welcome back to another episode of Rob Sports Center, man. If you clicked on this video to see a Gervonta Tank Davis breakdown or analyst or whatever the case may be, anything involving Gervonta Tank Davis, then you are on the right channel. So, I know I'm late on making this video. I'm sorry. I got two other channels that I've been on, and I've been getting them up off the ground, so I haven't had enough time. I haven't had time really to just put into my sports channel. On top of, I've been just trying to figure out what direction do I want to go in terms of my sports channel, and I pretty much gathered and got the direction that I want to go in. So basically, if you guys, I'm sure you guys may know, Gervonta Davis just fought Frank Martin this past weekend, and just like always, he finished him in spectacular fashion. Now, this is what's so crazy. So you have to build up going into the fight. Now, the thing is, I didn't know too much about Frank Martin going into this fight. I really didn't. I just assumed that if he landed in the ring with Tank, then he must be worthy, to be in that position. So he had to work to a certain degree to get into that position. So, everybody was having a breakdown, and I was confident in that fight, saying that Tank was going to pull it off, which he did, like I said, once again, in spectacular fashion. So I had to work that day. I got off work and I came home and I watched it. I watched somebody that was illegally streaming it on YouTube. Shout out to them. But I seen that in the first round, I watched what Frank Martin was utilizing. And if you've seen it, he was very active within the first round. I'm talking about just, jabbing, constantly punching, but also pivoting out, constantly trying to keep not allowing Tank to stand in front of him and load up on shots to possibly knock him out. But here's the thing, though. We all know about Gervonta Davis. We know Tank, and everybody, if you know anything about boxing, you always hear a lot of the commentators say that Tank tends to give away early rounds. I wouldn't necessarily say give away early rounds. He take those early rounds to scout out and see what it is his opponent and see if it's a pattern that he can catch on to. All the greats do it. Floyd done it. Canelo does it. Tank, so everybody, all the greats do it. They take the time to try to collect as much data as they possibly can, and from there they get into what they'll start picking up more on the offensive end. So one thing I heard that Calvin Ford, which is Tank's coach, said that Frank Martin tends to like to lay on the ropes, lean up against the ropes and catch shots and stuff like that. So going up against Tank, that's not a good idea, because once again, with Tank, you want to keep Tank moving. You don't want to stay stationary and sit in front of Tank, because if you do that, 9 times out of 10, you're just going to become a punching bag. And I can guarantee you that if Tank land one of them shots on you cleanly, if it don't knock you out, it'll daze you, like the first one he did with Frank, the first shot he hit Frank Martin with before he came back and hit him with the hook. So if it don't knock you out, it'll daze you. So it behooves you. It's importance in constantly moving. Now, here's the thing too. If you look at Frank Martin, I would say probably from round 1 to probably about round 1 to 4, you look at the trend, you've seen the decline in terms of the energy. Because the thing about that style of fighting, it requires a lot of energy, because you're constantly moving. So you have to be conditioned well in order to implement that game plan. So I feel that it was a point where Frank started to get a little fatigued. So he felt, okay, let me stay stationary and lean up against these ropes and try to catch some shots. Which, if you've seen, he would catch shots from time to time whenever he was up against the ropes. But I guess he got too comfortable in the ropes and got too overconfident in his skills of catching and parrying and getting out the way, that Tank ended up sneaking. But then the shot, even the uppercut Tank shot through at him, it was from an awkward angle. So it's hard to kind of really defend that, because it's one of those almost like Mahomes passes, those little flick, no look passes. It's just like, that's not something that you see on a day-to-day basis. You know what I mean? So that right there he put himself in a bad predicament getting up against those ropes. But he even said it in the post conference I seen, that Derrick Henry told him that we need to stay off the ropes. He told him to stay off the ropes as much as he possibly could. Now, I'm not saying that he just deliberately went against what Derrick Henry was telling him to do, but I think that in times of battle, when you start to fatigue, you start to kind of forget, you start to veer away from the game plan. You know what I mean? And everything that y'all was preparing for kind of goes out the window, because you're exhausted. So your main focus is trying to recover, get breath. It's not about sticking to the game plan at that point. I think that's what it was, that it got to a point. And then also too, if you look at, all Tank did the whole first 3 or 4 rounds, really the whole fight, truth be told. He walked him down the whole fight. He set up in his high guard and he just walked him down. Every time Frank would throw punches, he mainly was hitting here. And whenever you would see Tank throw punches, most of Tank punches was going to the body. So I remember hearing that when they went to the corner, I forgot what round it was, Derrick Henry asked him, he was like, hey man, he's like, are any of those punches landed? And he was like, nah, not the ones to the head. He was like, he's not hitting me to the head, but he got me to the body a few times. And when I heard him say that, I was like, okay, see, I know what Tank game plan is. It's to exhaust him. It's to keep pressure on him, keep him working, keep him using energy, but from time to time, dig to the body. And that's going to tire him out even faster. And that's what Tank ended up doing. Tank ended up getting him on the ropes, and then guess what? It was murder she wrote. It was history after that. And Tank closed in spectacular fashion. And like I was just looking at an interview with Robert Garcia, and they was asking him about Tank, and I was like, man, at this point right now, I don't see nobody that's on Tank's level. Like, I don't see nobody in his division that can beat him. Now, I will say this, and y'all can be mad at me for saying it. You can let me know in the comments what y'all think. I think that in his division, the toughest fight that he would have right now, in my opinion, or I think the best fight, other than Pitbull, I will say that, I take that back. I think Pitbull will be his best fight if he go back and fight Pitbull again. But I think other than Pitbull, if you're going based off somebody he hasn't fought yet, I would say Shakur Stevenson. Because we're not going to go with Devin Haney. I mean, look at what Ryan did to Devin Haney. And I understand now that Ryan is suspended, whatever the case may be, for a year. And people are going to be like, well, it was the doping thing, yada, yada, yada. To me, it seems like I watched the guy just get dominated. You know what I mean? That's what it looked like to me. And I don't think that just because you're doping and taking steroids that you're going to just come in there and do anybody like that. You know what I mean? I think that Devin was a very overrated fighter. I had been saying that even before it got up to this point. Just like they said, he's mainly a weight bully, you know, and he got exposed when he went up against somebody who was just his weight or if not bigger. So looking at knowing what we know about Devin, and it's not the first time we've seen Devin been rocked in another fight with the bullshit Philly Shell. So this is not the first time we've seen Devin been touched and, you know, was touched smoothly and was almost, you know, was vulnerable. So just imagine with his chin, what Tank would do to him on top of just the skill. Tank supersedes him in every aspect. Tank supersedes him in skill. Tank supersedes him in punching power. Tank supersedes him in defense. So it's just an unmatched. Look at what Tank done to Ryan, and then look at what Ryan done to Devin Haney. But see, this is the thing. So you mean to tell me that Ryan wasn't doping when he fought Tank, but he was doping when he fought Haney? I mean, come on, make it make sense. And I'm not saying that he wasn't. I'm just saying, like, to me, if anything, I felt that if he would have been doping against anybody, it would have been more so over Tank than Devin Haney. Because I feel that he could have beat Haney even if he wasn't doping. You know what I mean? And it's the same thing, like, even when you remember with Daniel Cormier, when him and John Jones were having a situation, and Daniel Cormier was saying, he was just talking about how good John Jones was. He's like, bro, honestly, he would have beat me even if he didn't take the steroids. So, I mean, it's just, and I think that's the same thing with that. I mean, you can, I know you can be opinionated on it. Your opinion might be different from mine, but that's just my honest opinion. I don't think that the steroids made that big of a difference. I just think that Devin Haney is a very overrated father. And his father needs to get off the internet and quit speaking for him and let his son, you know, speak through his actions in terms of in the ring. You know what I mean? But we're not going to get into that. But going back to what I was here to say, I think that Shakur Stevenson would be the better option. I mean, that's one person that he has not fought. He's beat Ryan. You've seen Devin get dominated by Ryan. That Tank stopped. So why would we want to see that? If anything, y'all just want to see a massacre. I would much rather see Shakur Stevenson and Tank, and then after that, Tank and Pitbull, and then Tank can just go from there and would do whatever else he want to do. But I think those are the next two fights that I want to see. Let me know what y'all think in the comment section. But as you guys can see, that's it for this video, man. If you did enjoy this video and you enjoyed my take on this, man, do me a big favor, man. Smash that thumbs up button. Also, if you're new to the channel, and if you're new to the channel, and if you've been watching my videos and you haven't, make sure you subscribe. And when you subscribe, click that post notification bell. That way you be notified on all things Rob Sports Center, man. Because I got a lot of content coming, man. So stay tuned. I'll see y'all in the next episode.